Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, uncovering the hidden tales and forgotten lore that have shaped our world. Today we find ourselves in the midst of a pivotal moment in European history as we delve into the fascinating story of the Battle of Sadowa. This pivotal conflict, fought on July 3, 1866, would prove to be a watershed moment in the struggle for dominance between the great powers of Europe. As we set our gaze upon the rolling hills and verdant plains of Bohemia, now part of the Czech Republic, we find ourselves transported to an era of grand alliances, shifting allegiances, and the intricate web of diplomatic maneuvering that characterized 19th-century European politics. The area around Sadowa was a picturesque landscape of wooded valleys, sparkling streams, and quaint villages, but it was also a region of strategic importance, with several key roads and railways converging on the city. To understand the origins of the Battle of Sadowa, we must delve into the complex web of alliances and rivalries that had been developing in Europe since the early 19th century. The Congress of Vienna, held in 1815, had established a delicate balance of power among the European powers, with Austria, Prussia, Russia, and Britain emerging as the dominant forces. However, this balance was precarious, and tensions between the powers continued to simmer, waiting to boil over into conflict. In the years leading up to the Battle of Sadowa, the relationship between Prussia and Austria had become increasingly strained. The two powers had long been rivals for influence in Germany, with Prussia seeking to expand its territory and consolidate its power, while Austria sought to maintain its dominance over the German states. The issue of Schleswig-Holstein, a region disputed by Denmark and the German Confederation, had brought Prussia and Austria into conflict in 1864, resulting in the occupation of the Danish territories. However, the two powers could not agree on how to administer these territories, leading to increased tensions between them. The situation was further complicated by the existence of the Zollverein, a customs union that had been established in 1834 and included most of the German states, but excluded Austria. The Prussian government saw the Zollverein as a key instrument for promoting its economic interests and expanding its influence over the German states. As we explore the historical context of the Battle of Sadowa, it becomes clear that this conflict was not simply a clash between two armies, but rather a culmination of years of diplomatic maneuvering, strategic planning, and economic rivalry. The city of Sadowa, with its strategic location and picturesque landscape, would become the focal point of this conflict, as the armies of Prussia and Austria clashed in a battle that would have far-reaching consequences for Europe. And so, dear listeners, we have set the stage for our exploration of the Battle of Sadowa. We've seen how the complex web of alliances and rivalries between European powers created an environment in which conflict was almost inevitable. Join me as we step into the midst of this pivotal moment in European history and uncover the secrets of the Battle of Sadowa. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we continue our journey through the annals of time and delve deeper into the fascinating story of the Battle of Sadowa. As the armies of Prussia and Austria clashed on the rolling hills and verdant plains of Bohemia, the sound of cannons and muskets filled the air, and the scent of smoke and blood hung heavy over the landscape. The Prussian army, led by King William I and his trusted advisor, Otto von Bismarck, had been preparing for this moment for years, studying the tactics of Napoleon and developing a new style of warfare that emphasized speed, mobility, and decisive action. The Austrian army, led by Emperor Franz Joseph and his commander, Ludwig von Benedek, was a formidable force in its own right, with a long tradition of military excellence and a deep understanding of the terrain. However, despite their bravery and skill, the Austrians were ultimately no match for the superior tactics and technology of the Prussians. As the battle raged on, the Prussians began to gain the upper hand, pushing the Austrians back with a series of swift and decisive attacks. The Austrian lines wavered and then broke as the Prussians poured through the gaps and exploited the weaknesses in their enemy's position. It was a masterclass in military strategy, and one that would have far-reaching consequences for Europe. In the words of Helma von Moltke, the brilliant Prussian strategist who had planned the battle, the essence of strategy is to create a series of options for oneself, while denying them to the enemy. This philosophy was perfectly exemplified at Sadowa, where the Prussians created a series of opportunities for themselves, while limiting the Austrians' ability to respond effectively. As we explore the events of that fateful day, it becomes clear that the Battle of Sadowa was not just a military victory, but a turning point in European history. The defeat of Austria marked the end of the old balance of power and paved the way for the rise of Prussia as a dominant force on the continent. The city of Sadowa itself was left scarred and battered by the battle, its picturesque landscape torn apart by the ravages of war. However, even in the midst of destruction, there were moments of humanity and compassion that shone through. As one Prussian soldier recalled, "We found an old Austrian general, wounded and alone on the battlefield. We took him prisoner and tended to his wounds as if he were one of our own." The battle marked a turning point in European history and set the stage for the rise of Prussia as a dominant force on the continent. Join me as we uncover the secrets of the post-Sadowa world and examine the ways in which this battle continues to shape our understanding of European history today. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we explore the aftermath of the Battle of Sadowa and its profound impact on European history. The decisive Prussian victory marked a turning point in the balance of power on the continent, setting in motion a chain of events that would reshape the map of Europe. In the immediate wake of the battle, Austria was forced to confront the reality of its defeat. The Treaty of Prague, signed on August 23, 1866, officially ended the Austro-Prussian War and imposed harsh terms on the vanquished Austrian Empire. Austria was compelled to cede significant territory, including the province of Venetia, and recognized the dissolution of the German Confederation, which had been dominated by Austrian influence. The rise of Prussia as a dominant force in Europe was swift and decisive. King William I and his trusted advisor, Otto von Bismarck, skillfully exploited the momentum gained at Sadowa to consolidate their power and reshape the German states in their image. The North German Confederation, established in 1867, was a Prussian-dominated entity that would eventually become the foundation for a unified German empire. As Austria struggled to come to terms with its reduced status, it began to reorient its foreign policy towards the East, seeking alliances and opportunities in the Balkans and the Ottoman Empire. This shift in focus would ultimately contribute to the complex web of alliances and rivalries that characterized European politics in the decades leading up to World War I. The Battle of Sadowa also had significant consequences for the military tactics and strategies employed by European powers. The Prussian victory demonstrated the effectiveness of modern industrialized warfare, with its emphasis on speed, mobility, and decisive action. This led to a widespread adoption of similar tactics and technologies across Europe, as military leaders sought to replicate the Prussian success. In the years following Sadowa, the legend of the Prussian military grew, and their strategic brilliance was studied and emulated by armies around the world. The battle became a benchmark for military excellence, with the Prussians' innovative use of railways, telegraphs, and artillery serving as a model for modern warfare. Today, the legacy of the Battle of Sadowa can still be seen in the modern European landscape. The unified German state, which emerged from the ashes of the Austro-Prussian War, continues to play a major role in European politics and economy. The battle also marked the beginning of a new era of nationalism and militarism in Europe, which would ultimately contribute to the devastating conflicts of the 20th century. As we conclude our journey through the Battle of Sadowa, we are reminded that the consequences of this pivotal conflict continue to shape our understanding of European history. The bravery, cunning, and strategic brilliance displayed on the battlefields of Bohemia in 1866 remain an enduring testament to the power of human ingenuity and the enduring legacy of war. Join me next time on History with Herodotus, as we explore more fascinating stories from the annals of time. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.